Hi, welcome to Hot Health, a program that brings you current information on a variety of health topics that may impact your life. Today, Dr. Ruth Stanheiser has three very special guests who are registered dietitians, right here on Smart Lifestyle TV, an LLBN network.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's a privilege to have all three of you here for Hot Health. I'm going to start over here with you, Alessandra. Can you tell me something about yourself?
Yeah, of course. I'm originally from Venezuela, a beautiful country in South America, and I moved here about 10 years ago with my family to start dietetics as a profession. So I've been doing that, and when I finished, I went to different routes, but I decided to do now consulted dietitian. So that's what I've been doing now.
And I'm moving on to Lauren. Tell us something about you.
Well, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I studied at Andrews University. Now, currently, I'm doing my master's in public health here in Loma Linda, and I am also working part-time as a registered dietitian for the community in San Bernardino.
And we have Kylee here.
Yes.
Same for you, Kylee. Can you tell us something about yourself?
I'll tell you my new favorite thing. I'm a mom. My son is 8 months old and just a beautiful little boy. And so that's my favorite thing now.
So I understand that all of you met at
Andrews. Yes.
University. So you took your course in dietetics
Correct.
at Andrews.
Yes.
And I think that all of you have chosen a slightly different way to go with your dietetics degree.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your degree, Alessandra. What are you doing right now?
Well, right now, I started my own little business as a consultant dietitian, and I also did certification in personal training. So I'm combining both ends to give a better service and
So
and
you're a
help.
consultant and you're doing personal
Personal training.
and combining that with nutrition.
Correct. Yes.
And that's here in California?
No, I live in Florida, Ocala. Yes. So I'm practicing there.
And are you enjoying it?
I love it. I love it. It
So-
takes a lot of work and passion to, come everything together.
And how did you become interested in taking a degree in, as an art, you became a registered dietitian, it's nutrition. How did you become interested in nutrition?
Well, at first, I went to I like to exercise. I'm very sport oriented. And through different people that I spent time with, they introduced me to nutrition. And by reading, I fall in love how the body works. And I wanted to know how to take care of my body. And that's how I got into that.
So you decided, because of your interest in nutrition, that you were going to take a degree in nutrition, and now
Correct.
you're able to teach other people about nutrition.
I want to share what I learned and what has been helpful to me.
So you can. Are there a lot of people who want to know how they can increase their endurance?
Definitely, yeah. Every week I have more people interested. I also work in a radio where I help clients to learn a bit more to make wise decisions about nutrition, because there is a lot of misinformation, and
There is a lot of
yeah, exactly. They find so much misinformation and they don't know what to do. So
it's a talk
very
show?
helpful. What?
It's a talk show. They call in and ask you
Correct.
questions?
Yes, they do. They send
that
text,
sounds really
and
interesting.
It is really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of misinformation out there, and that's one of the reasons we are doing these Hot Health episodes, because we're trying to use evidence-based nutrition
Yeah.
and try to get it out to the public, because when you go on the internet, it seems like somebody tells you to do one thing, somebody says, no, don't do that, and so we're trying to make it where we have evidence-based information that we can give to the public.
That is correct, and that's my goal now. Yeah.
I'm going to move to Lauren, because you've gone in a slightly different direction.
Yes, I have. I'm doing my master's right now in public health here in Loma Linda with emphasis in nutrition. Also, I'm working in the community of San Bernardino with individuals that suffer from HIV and AIDS. So it's very interesting to work with that population because sometimes they don't have the adequate resources. So you kind of have to work with what they have and just provide like overall wellness and just health for them.
And when you finish your degree, what's your dream?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I have several dreams, but my ultimate dream will be to work for the Seventh-day Adventist Church and create wellness programs around the world. I would like to be a long-term missionary.
You want to be a missionary?
Yes.
And I understand that you've been to Africa?
I've been to Africa, Palau, Honduras, several parts of the world.
So you're adventuresome. You want to go see the world.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
And now I'm going to move on to Kylee. And Kylee, tell me a little bit about what your passions are, what you're doing now.
I love to teach people about health, but I also love to teach them about cooking as well. So currently I'm a stay-at-home mom. That's my full-time job, 24-hour job. It doesn't stop. But also I have my own business on the side as well, where I have a website with blogging that I have recipes on, and I do videos that I put up on YouTube so people can see how to make some healthy foods as well, and have nutrition information on there. And since I'm a new mom, I have information for new moms as well.
So my understanding is that you've taken it a step beyond that and that you've made a cookbook.
Yes, that's correct, I have.
And I think it's right here. Maybe you could lift it and show the
It is. This is my new cookbook. It just came out June of 2017, the same time my son did. So it's a brand new cookbook, and I'm very excited about it. I always wanted to have a cookbook, but I never actually thought it was going to be possible, and God opened up the doors and made it possible.
Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, I had started my blog and my videos a few years ago, and it hadn't really gone anywhere too far. But a couple of my friends called me up and said, hey, we're wanting to have a new cookbook for the colporteurs to use, and we need somebody to make the cookbook for us. And they said, would you be interested in it? Well, yeah, of course I would. I've always wanted to do a cookbook. So I started coming up with my favorite recipes and putting them together, and it all came through. They said, yes, we're going to do the cookbook. And I had about 4 months to get the cookbook together.
4 months?
Yes, I was pregnant and working full-time and working on the cookbook full-time as well. So it was a lot of pressure, but it came out good.
So I see that this is Simply Fresh, and it says healthy made simple. So is this an emphasis on something everybody can do?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a busy person anyway. I love to cook, but I don't like to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So these are simple and easy recipes. A lot of them don't take a lot of time.
Can you give me an example? Maybe your friends here can pitch in and tell us about this simple. I'm all for simple as long as it's nutritious.
Yes, they are simple. I don't know what your guys' favorite recipes are.
Well, why don't you pick a favorite recipe and tell us why it's simple, or why you chose that one to put in this book?
One of my favorite recipes, and one that I've seen that people really enjoy, is the cheese sauce. It's plant-based. Yeah. It's made from cashews.
So it's a cheese sauce, but it's not real cheese.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So you can indulge in it without feeling too bad.
Oh, not too bad.
Not too bad. I mean, you don't want to eat the whole thing in one setting.
We have tried it. We can confirm it's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's delicious.
Okay. So let me see if I can find this recipe in this book here.
Yeah, and it's actually, if you want me to help you, I usually make it at home, so I know usually exactly where it's at. Let's see if I can do it now with all the pressure. But it's nice and simple because people have a hard time giving up cheese, say if you want to go vegan or vegetarian.
So you're telling me that this is a vegetarian cookbook?
Yes.
Or?
It's a vegan cookbook.
So it's a plant-based
Yes.
cookbook. It's a vegan cookbook.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
no animal products.
No animal products.
Why would you want a cookbook that has no animal products?
Because it's so easy and simple, and I'm a dietitian, so make it healthier.
Is there a health benefit to having more plants or not using them?
There are. I've worked a few different jobs as well before, and I noticed that a lot of people had problems with their cholesterol, and they had heart conditions as well. And when I would give advice, cut back on some of the animal products, the eggs, because their cholesterol is very high. And when they would do that, they would feel better, but they would also see their cholesterol levels go down.
So they were happy.
They were happy, yeah.
So you have recipes in here that somebody who would usually be eating meat or eating dairy products or cheese can prepare these recipes, and they're not going to say, oh, I can't do this because I don't have my cheese.
Right, yes.
Okay, so it's, and you have your friends here who say that. Let me look at these
And
recipes.
I didn't pay them to say that it's good.
I actually just bought it and it's really good. It has a lot of information and well detailed.
So
it's
there's
a bit
other
thought out.
information in here besides if somebody wants to have more plant-based recipes. Okay.
Yeah.
So some of these, can you get these ingredients at any store? I don't remember seeing some of these ingredients when I've gone to the grocery store.
That's the thing that I like is a lot of these ingredients you can find in any grocery store.
Okay.
Because you can go to the health food store and find them as well, but most people just go to the regular grocery store. So I like to have normal ingredients.
So now,
Simple,
Lauren-
quick,
well,
to the
but
point.
Now, Lauren, you told me that the people you're working with have some decreased resources, and some of these things look like they could be expensive.
Yes, this is a recently new job for me, but one of my responsibilities is to provide a meal prep for them. So I already spoke with Kylee, and I'm going to use a few of her recipes.
So you're finding that they do
yeah,
have
for
the
sure.
resources
Yes,
for
they do.
this. They can do this.
Yes.
So do you find people pick up your book and they go, well, it sounds good, but I don't think I can do it?
I'm sure there's one or two people, but I've never heard anybody say that
But
before.
I heard you saying that you had the blog. It sounds like the reason
Yes,
the
that's
reason
true.
that you did this is because sometimes
Yes.
people really need to see somebody.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of these recipes are so easy, you can just read it and do it yourself. But I have quite a few of those that I've put up on my blog with a video where they can actually watch me making the recipe. Because sometimes people don't really know how to cook.
Right.
And so I like to have the basics for them as well. So they can just go to the blog and make the recipe with it.
No, yeah, for example, I'm a visual person, and I like to see how things are done. And in class with the PowerPoints and demonstrating, I feel I can learn better. So I think it's a great way that you're doing that too with your blog.
Thank you.
So all of you have worked with the public to a degree, with your degree,
Right.
and you must have picked up some perceptions. What do you think about the way that people are cooking here? The people you've dealt with, are there problems with the way that people are cooking in their homes?
Yeah, noticed several things, to be honest. Everybody has the basic knowledge with nutrition and health, but I seem to notice that nobody really likes to apply it, or they say, oh, it's too hard, too difficult, or I'll do it tomorrow. For example, a lot of people skip breakfast, lunch, dinner, and when you realize they're eating most of their meals outside, but they kind of know that it's not healthy.
So they're skipping these meals, but
Yes.
they must be snacking them because they're not eating.
Oh, no, they're eating, just not eating the right foods and eating them in the wrong places instead of eating them home and making them themselves.
So you find that's the biggest problem, that people aren't cooking at home?
Well, I would say that's not the biggest problem. I can't really pinpoint one problem. There's several problems happening. Also lack of exercise, the society, the environment where we're living, that also affects that. I would say media too, in a sense. People have become more attached to media than actually social interactions. So,
I find a lot of people, especially our age, they don't really know how to cook. Because either their parents have cooked for them, or it's just easy to go through a drive-through or go have something delivered to the house as well. And so a lot of people our age especially, and other people too, they don't know how to cook. They've never really been taught. And so I think that being able to just show them simple recipes, healthy recipes, is going to be beneficial for them.
Many years ago, it used to be required to take something for the women, to take something called home ec. And I can tell you that I have taken home ec. And I think that's really interesting what you said, because I couldn't tell you that home ec was my favorite class, but I did learn some things, and I have spoken and read I've spoken with authorities and have read that we have such a problem with obesity in the United States and other chronic diseases we know that probably
Nutrition related.
80 to 90% of some of these chronic diseases have major impact from the way that people are eating.
Yeah.
They have said that they might have to make it mandatory in middle school
It would
for
be
both
great.
boys and girls to go back to being taught how to cook, because nobody knows how to cook.
That's why the shakes has become so popular, because that's something really quick you can make and and get out of the cooking part.
Yes.
But
Without all the nutrition that you need.
correct.
too.
And so it's good to reestablish that point of learning how to cook so you can have a balanced diet. And
So have any of you run cooking schools, or are you doing this? I know you're doing it as a personal trainer and maybe personalized nutrition.
yeah.
But have you done cooking school?
I've done cooking classes. I started about 10, 11 years ago. I started doing cooking classes at Whole Foods. I had no idea what I was doing, really, honestly. I had barely cooked before that, but a friend of mine said, hey, you should go teach a plant-based cooking class at Whole Foods. And I thought, okay, sure. I didn't know what I was doing. So I went there and I taught a cooking class, and they loved it. It was one of the highest attended classes, not because of me, but because people were, well, maybe a little, but because people were interested in learning about plant-based vegan diet.
And they want to know how to cook it, because
Yes.
they want to do it. They've heard it's good for their health, but they don't know where to start. As you
Right.
said, you didn't know what you were doing, and you
Yeah.
had all this education. Think about the other people.
I hadn't had my education then.
At that time you
That's
hadn't?
actually what started me
Oh,
to
tell us
become
about
interested
that.
in nutrition. I started the classes and I thought, okay, I'll do an hour of cooking demonstration, so I would get the recipes together, and then I would do an hour health lecture. I didn't know much, but I would spend hours in the library studying because I wanted to teach people something that was meaningful and that they could use. And at that point I thought, well, these people love it, and I'm enjoying it, so I probably should learn more about it besides just going to the library. So that's where I started to think, well, maybe I should think about dietetics and nutrition. And then I found Andrews and went there.
So you went to Andrews University and took that's a rigorous course.
It is, yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
So it all started from you getting a job at Whole Foods doing cooking demonstrations.
Yes, it wasn't even a job, it was just kind of a part-time thing that I was doing.
wow, look how things are different routes.
Things come together, and
Right.
tell us again on your you said you liked cooking, but how did you end up at Andrews University?
Well, my first encounter with nutrition was when my brother was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. My parents never really followed a healthy diet, nutritious regimen at home, and they completely changed. We became eating more plant-based diets, and I saw the change in my brother. I was like, I want this. I want to teach other people how to be healthy, even though they have a disease or condition, how nutrition can affect their health in a positive way.
Yeah.
So all my life, I've been surrounded with nutrition after my brother's diagnosis. And then my aunt, she was a professor at the time at Andrews University, and she told me about the program. I was like, great, this seems like it works perfect with me. It's nutrition related, and it's teaching people how to live healthy, longer lives, and how to control diabetes, certain diseases. You can control them with a good regimen, good diet regimen.
Yeah, the plant-based diet in a nutshell is anti-inflammatory,
Yes.
or it's food as medicine. It
Healing.
heals the body.
Yes.
Even when you have a genetic condition, you can
Still avoid certain progressions in the disease, in the condition. So yeah, after that, my brother has been doing great. He was diagnosed when we were 8, and the physicians, everyone told my family that he was going to die when he was 12, and he's 29 years old right now.
Crazy.
So, and he follows a plant-based diet, and currently we switched doctors with him, and they're not so pro being a plant-based diet, that he's in a plant-based diet, but he tells them that he feels great, and that's what matters, and he's surpass any other expectations that any doctor has said. So you can really see how nutrition affects you when you really experience it, when you give it a chance in your life.
And have you seen any of your clients now? Can they feel the change?
Yeah, well, not all my clients are plant-based. Majority of them they're meat eaters, but the ones that are going a plant-based diet, they have seen a lot of change besides weight loss, but their energy levels, how their mind have been sharper, not foggy thoughts and things like that. So it has been positive, the transition to plant-based.
That actually makes me think of something too, Alessandra, because the work that I was doing before I had my son, I was doing consultations on the phone with people, and a lot of them, they do eat the SAD diet, the standard American diet, and when you don't really want to talk about, vegan, plant-based with them because they're turned off by it. But, I would go through and ask them questions, I would have their blood work there so I could see what their cholesterol is, and I would ask, how is your cholesterol? Oh no, it's great. But I had the number there, and I thought, okay. Well, how about this? How often do you eat meat? How often do you eat dairy? How often do you have eggs? And slowly I would say, okay, out of the things we talked about, because I would talk about how the different things had cholesterol, for example, and they would make small choices. Instead of saying, I'm going to go plant-based or vegan, they would say, maybe I can cut back on how many eggs per week I'm eating. I'll try that for a couple of weeks. And I would call back a few weeks later to follow up, and they would say, after they'd gotten their blood work, their cholesterol had started to go down. Yeah. And so it's not, you don't always have to go straight, jump in.
Yeah, I don't think very many people can do that anyway. Yeah. So for a lot of these people, it's encouraging to eat the things that are positive without talking about the negative. When I was doing a lot of OB, I would do a 24-hour diet recall. What did you have for breakfast? What did you have for supper? What did you have for lunch yesterday? What did you have in between? And it just takes a few minutes. And what I found when I started doing this is I've done thousands of them now, but what I found was for the younger age group, particularly the area of that they weren't getting every day was fruit, actually. It's fruit.
Oh, okay.
Fresh fruit. That's the one that I found was the most lacking.
Okay. Yeah.
If I would question them, do you like, but the kids eat it or something like that. And I said, nope, now you're pregnant, you want to have the things for your baby.
Right.
So now from now until next week, I'll see you again. I want you to have at least 3 cups of fresh fruit. That's all.
For the whole week?
Yeah.
Just every day.
Every day.
Every day, 3 cups of fresh fruit a day. Like an apple, an orange, and a banana. Right. And I would, you don't have to put it in a measuring cup. You don't have to chop it up. But at least 3 cups a day. This is your prescription.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
And I didn't say anything about anything else that they did. Nothing.
And it doesn't feel pressuring. Like there's a lot of changes I have to make.
No,
so
just 3 cups of fresh fruit. Now, the reason that's so interesting, because they were so, to me, that they were so lacking, was that most of them could really tell the difference in a week. And then they're ready to have you tell them something else.
Right.
Something else.
Yeah.
That's the approach.
Just something else.
One thing at a time.
Yeah.
You don't have to do everything at once.
Right.
No.
That's how we work. Otherwise, we get overwhelmed with so much.
Yeah.
So we have to do
and
baby steps.
You see people doing these drastic, intense, at least in Puerto Rico, they have the famous potato and carrot diet.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Oh, yeah. That's famous. If you want to lose quick weight, if you need to get married and you want to lose 10 pounds, just eat potatoes and carrots for 3 weeks. And they lose the weight. That they're great, but then you can't really follow that diet. No, you can't sustain it.
Yeah, that's the same with any of the fad diets, that we hear about. Oh yeah, well you lose weight because you're cutting out a lot of things, but you can't keep on that for a long time, and you shouldn't either.
No, it's not
healthy.
It's not
healthy. I'll eat a potato.
Lacking quite a few things.
Yes.
Right.
So I really encourage just people to eat like balanced meals, variety of fruits and vegetables, grains, whole grains if it's accessible. Legumes, nuts, just balanced meals. That's my
And
always
have you been a
recommendation.
vegetarian your whole life?
No, I've been vegetarian about 5 years or 7 years already.
Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, I feel better. I feel my energy levels. I've been always hyperactive, but it helps me to. My mind is clearer. That my digestion, it has improved a lot because I used to have gases of bloating, but it helps me to not feel like
Discomfort or
discomfort. So that those areas have helped me a lot.
And are you a vegetarian? I don't even know.
Yes, I am. But I was not a vegetarian until I was 16 years old, and I got sick actually eating meat. And after that, I was like, no, I'm not gonna eat meat anymore. And I've just felt better too. I study well. I feel with more energy. My stamina overall is really.
And you're athletic.
Yes, I am. I love sports.
Do you do any races or what?
Before, I used to run, do a lot of running, short distance run. Yeah.
And you have a new baby. Are you a vegetarian?
I am. I'm vegan, plant-based.
Vegan, plant-based.
And so is my son so far.
I don't think that's true. Isn't he breastfed?
Yeah, besides that.
The very, very, very best,
best
food.
that you can
the
have,
very
yes.
best food for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So, in conclusion, any last thoughts that anybody would like to give our viewing audience?
Well, I would suggest that people encourage them to learn more about our bodies, how they work, and to always find a professional that can guide them for the right answer and not to look information online because there is a lot of misinformation. And so that would be my advice.
No, definitely.
Yeah. And if they're looking for easy cooking recipes, they always have mine, which is available at kyleeskitchen.com.
Kylie'sKitchen.com.
Yes, Kylee with Kylee.
I think we've got that right here.
Yes.
KYL. Let's see, where is
Right
that
in the
now?
front.
Yeah, so KYLEE.
Yes, kyleeskitchen.com.
Kylie'sKitchen.com.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being with us this evening for Hot Health.
Thank you so much for having us.
We want to thank Dr. Ruth Standheiser and her 3 special guests today. It's just amazing to see that a career in dietetics and nutrition can take you anywhere from coaching clients, from traveling the world and doing mission trips, to even being a stay-at-home mom with your own business and making a cookbook. If you're someone who's thinking about going plant-based, we understand it may not be easy, but like they were saying, it begins with small choices, baby steps. And so we want to encourage you, just take the information from knowledge to application. And remember, as you start to feel those changes, it'll encourage you to keep on going. And don't beat yourself up over it if it gets difficult. I myself, I didn't become vegetarian until about like 4 or 5 years ago, and it wasn't always easy. But as I started experiencing those changes, it really encouraged me to go plant-based, and I started to feel better. So if you want more information on what we've talked about, go ahead and visit us on www.smartlifestyletv.com.